Good morning. Just read Ezekiel 28, and this chapter, Ezekiel is finishing this judgment of Tyre section, and he actually goes after the king, and he talks about how the king is going to be judged. And I see the sin of pride coming in a lot in this chapter. I mean, he says that, king, you think that you're a god, you put yourself on the same level as a god, but you're not a god, you're a man. You think you're wiser than Daniel, he says, and he talks about the treasures you have, and then he talks about bringing him down to the pit, which is hell. Like, if you're a god, then how come you can be killed? How come you go down to this pit? How come you can go to hell if you're a god? There was a lot of that in history. The emperors, Japanese emperors, they said they were gods, And, well, if you're a god, you can't die. So obviously they're not a god. And then they touch on the judgment of Zidon to finish that off. And Zidon, I guess, was like the second city of Tyre. Like their little buddy, I guess. And he says he's sending judgment to them. And that he's going to be glorified in the midst of the judgment. He's sending pestilence and blood in the streets, and wounded shall be judged, he says. And there'll no longer be a thorn in Israel, even though Israel's already been judged. And what I found interesting is it seems like all these nations are being judged right now because the nation of Israel is being judged. The Jewish people are being judged. And they didn't think about the consequences of what happens if you've got one righteous neighbor and they get judged. Well, you feel it too, and you're sitting here thinking you're doing okay, and then your neighbor gets judged, and you kind of get destroyed along with them. So I think it brings to light that our neighbors need the gospel too. Everyone does, because we're all getting judged in the end, even if you're just sitting there kind of minding your own business. So yeah, I think it's just a plea to take the gospel to everybody. We all need restitution. We all need savement from this judgment.